So I think that should be us recording now. So another wee episode of Sips and Snips.
Yes.
I always laugh at that name because
What's
it's
that?
like the Sips and Snips.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
just
coffee and eggs.
coffee and barber.
I like it.
Barber and coffee. But yeah, we have Tom on the podcast today, who literally just asked us what the podcast is about and why we're even doing this podcast. And
Yeah.
Jay was literally about to answer, and I was like, "Hold on, pause. Let's talk about that whenever we get the podcast started." So yeah. What's this podcast about, Jay?
So the podcast is a
Yeah.
Christian-based podcast, but
Yeah.
it's just the talk. All the things we're talking about is like everyday people's lives,
Yeah.
and obviously talking to people's struggles, how people perceive life, and if they have a relationship with God, if they don't, and
Yeah.
just letting everyone have a voice.
Yeah.
And let other people see what everyone else is going through, and
Nice.
backgrounds in their lives and stuff, which is
Yeah.
the main basis of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Sick. Love it.
Yeah, I guess we had the idea that obviously we wanted to talk about God because we talk about God a lot between me and Jay. It's like the sole focus of our conversation a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Tom found out last night.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to how do you say introduce real people to the fact that Christians don't just isolate themselves with other Christians. We do have life together in general, and and we wanted to show that through this podcast of just a normal, natural conversation with real people. And if they want to talk about God, we'll talk about it. And if you're up for having that kind of conversation, we'll chat about it. But it's really just for people to, because I was thinking to myself, people who stack shelves in Tesco's, or someone who does gardening for a living, or someone who's a builder, or someone, people just kind of forget about. And but at the same time, they have a story, and they've got kids, they've got family, they've got things going on, and the things that have happened to them that are really interesting, and things going on in their life that are actually quite interesting behind closed doors, and not everyone gets to see. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to make a real life podcast of real people, real life conversation, and just give people, as you said, give people a voice. Be kind of cool, But yeah, as I say, we got Tom. What's your last name, Tom?
Ryan.
Tom Ryan.
Thomas Patrick Ryan, mate.
Wow.
I'm half German, half Irish, and I think the naming was all my dad, all the Irish side.
It literally sounds like an actor's name, starring Tom Ryan. It's I always think to myself, how do these actors get their names? Do they change them or what? And then you just meet someone like Tom Ryan, okay, it just happens sometimes.
Wow, stop it.
I know we had a flirting going on here. So Tom, tell us a wee bit about yourself. So where are you from? How are you here? Why are you even here in this room right now?
Look, fair enough. From Australia, moved to London 2.5 years ago. Met Jay on my first night in London. So I was I got keys to my flat, and then the girl giving me the keys was like, "What are you doing tonight?" And then absolutely nothing. I don't have any mates. She went, "Right, come to this bar down the street," and then we're going to our friend's barbershop, second anniversary being open, and then putting on free Jamesons. And I was like, I'm there. Done. You're talking my language. So Jay was one of the barbers there, and got on like a house on fire, and been mates since. And so I'm going back to Oz in mid-October. I'm leaving London for a big Europe trip on Thursday. And so I came here to sort of not say goodbye, but goodbye for now, Yeah. So hanging out for the day and yesterday. It's lovely. It's great.
Yeah, and plus, me and Tom were obviously mates before my faith back with God.
Yeah.
Tom sees the
I've seen both sides.
Yeah, and prime example was what Tom came yesterday when I picked him up. He turned. That's what he said. The first thing he said was he seen a difference in my aura and how I conducted myself and how much calmer I am, because Tom seen me in
a state,
not so calm situations.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll just say the least, But yeah, it's been a good time, and especially in London.
Yeah,
me and Tom as well. We were the ones we hiked across the West Highland Way from Glasgow to Fort William, 6 days, just me and him.
The photos of you, or
you
went camping and
for
miles and couldn't find somewhere.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
And you were
like
thought you were gonna die.
racing the light again,
Crying.
and then like literally we go to this. We had because we were camping in hammocks, right? So we needed trees, and so the next trees were like 15 miles away, and it's 9 a.m. We're like, right, we got a mission, so we're all day just pinning it, going as quick as we can, and then we had this pine forest. Like this is it's either this or nothing else. We get there at like I don't know 3 p.m. and the whole thing's like barbed wire fence. We're like, all right, new plan. What do we got? Like a mile off the track, there's another patch of trees, and we're like, we got no other choice than to go that way. The rain's coming in about half an hour. Let's get a move on.
Yeah.
So like, trekking across like
Bog.
absolute bog. It was horrible, you know. And it's like it all looks like the same flat land, but then your foot goes a foot through the floor. And then, yeah.
And we ran out of water as well that day.
Yeah.
We were like sitting there collecting rainwater for the morning, and
Yeah,
it was
from the top.
like, but yeah, it was cool. It was a good time. It was a good time. So glad to be finished though. I remember me and him both got the Fort William, and we literally we got it in the double bed and just lay there like
Just panting.
It was grim, like.
Yeah.
But
Was Carter there?
no, just me and Tom.
Yeah.
Just the two of yous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
6
okay.
days, like just me and him.
It's great.
It was hard graft, like.
Time of my life.
Sure, you slept a lot closer then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
James, my best mate in London. Yeah,
No,
well,
exactly.
this side of the world, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was good, like, you know. But yeah, I was just going into probably what me and Tom were talking about last night. So obviously we were asking, like, obviously Tom grew up as a Lutheran.
Yeah.
Which I found quite interesting.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to explain that.
So my granddad was a Lutheran pastor, and so that's mum's side of the family. Very much like mum was a pastor's daughter. Moved around a bunch as he moved around. He's actually an MBE, like because he worked with Aboriginals and another cool story. The first Aboriginal guy into Parliament was Noel Pearson. Noel Pearson's definitely an Aboriginal Australian, but I can't remember if that's actually the right guy. But anyway, the first Aboriginal into Parliament was a part of my granddad's ministry, and before he went in for the first day, he called my granddad, said, "I don't know if I can do it," and my granddad went, "You get in there. This is important. You go to Parliament. You go in and you say your piece," and he did. And so he and every time he wrote a book, he'd send it to my granddad and be like, "To my friend Ivan," you know, it's pretty
Cool.
pretty
That's
cool,
really cool.
pretty cool, yeah. So, and then, like dad's side is Catholic, but dad's dad wasn't a great guy, so we definitely picked the Lutheran, the Lutheran side of the family. But yeah, I don't know, just grew up Lutheran churches all the time, Lutheran school. As it's hard to compare and contrast that to any other kind of denomination because I've only sort of seen snippets of Catholic churches and that. Like when me and Dad are going to church and we'll pop in and just sit, stand, kneel, sing the song.
Yeah.
There's no hymn book.
Church of
Don't know the
Ireland
words.
kind of way as well.
Yeah.
They'd be like kind of like that. So what really is Lutheran? Like, can you explain that, or do you have an understanding really of that fully? Or
I think so. It's like it's the original Protestantism, you know, because like that's like it's the church that happened after Luther. You know, it's the followers of Martin Luther, and then all the descendants, I guess, and like the spreading. So it's like very much like the point of the Reformation is like all this nonsense with the Catholic Church and paying your way into heaven, paying your way past purgatory. That's nonsense. That's not in the Bible. What's actually in there? What's actually in the Scripture? Let's follow that. And so it's trying to. It's not fanatic, but it's saying, let's get back to what's actually important, what actually matters, what's actually what God wants us to do. I guess
what truth is really.
Yeah. It's not it, and so I'm very sensitive to. I was also around sort of more Pentecostal churches, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. The way it wasn't, at least in Australia, it wasn't about the scripture. You'd have a Bible verse or a reading of a Bible verse. Then the pastor goes on and talks about his kids. Like, what's that about? That really rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't enjoy that.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But also the other part of Lutheranism is it's very traditional and boring because the Germans are boring, you know. That's the nice way of saying it.
Sorry to any German people watching right now.
Yeah. So like very so like I got to experience two extreme ends of it, you know, the super traditional and the super new wave Pentecostal thing. And I really didn't find a home in either one, like theologically or like just the way that I could talk to people about God and that. So I kind of like right now I'm sort of a Christian, definitely, but I haven't found a church that's a home, I'd say. That's probably a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Church is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I struggled with church my whole Christian walk. Just with how churches do things. You go to a place and there's certain people in it that you gel well with. But then there's other areas of the church and things that go on that you just doesn't really sit well with you.
Yeah.
So you end up not sticking to that particular place or church. And you just can move from one place to another, trying to find as you said, your home. And I tend to find that for me now, it's the people now that make the home more so than the actual place that you go to on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, me and my wife Lucy were chatting about this recently. We're like, there's been a few changes and stuff in our church, and we're having to sit back and reflect on like, what is church now? Like, what are we really looking for in church, or what does church actually mean? And we found now that, you know, which is true anyway in itself, is that church is the people. It's the gathering of the people. So you find a group of people that you can connect with, that you can have support with and fellowship with, like the guys that we meet together on a Friday night, and like we play games together, we actually chat and ask each other how we are, and we pray for each other, and we actually support each other. And that to me now is what church is. So when I go into church and there's things that are going on and I'm like, oh, that's just really annoying, or that's so petty, and like, why is that even happening? I'm like, you know, that doesn't really bother me as much, because it's more about the people that I'm actually connected with outside of church, more so than me going there on a Sunday. I'm wrestling with the idea of like, do we see ourselves going to church permanently now and years to come, Sunday after Sunday, just for the sake of tradition and going there because it's what you do as a Christian, you go to church on a Sunday? Or do we end up making a wee group of people that are like 10, 15 of us who actually go out into the streets and do things together and read the Bible together and pray together and worship together? Is that what we're going to end up having? Possibly. That's kind of maybe what I see myself doing in the next number of years, but who knows? But yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, it's whenever you have that mind, you're not quite in that camp. You're not quite in that camp, but you know that you're a Christian and you believe that there's more to your walk with God than these places in particular.
Yeah.
But you have this thing in the back of your head where you're like, but I need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Or that I should be going somewhere.
That's it.
But I'm not. And like, does that make me a bad Christian? Like, you're like, well, no, not necessarily. As long as you're having fellowship and meeting with people, like that's cool. That's grand. But yeah, so continue. Sorry, your churches, you found that struggle and
I think like because I also just overthink everything. That's another thing. It's like like what you were saying, having a small community, like a community with a couple of people that all think similarly and all that. That's essentially a church, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think what I'm scared of is someone that is a leader and a vibrant and charismatic person. And he's kind of the head of the group, and he doesn't know nothing, you know. Like, it's like that, because that can happen as well. Like I think the argument to say go to church is there's a guy at the front who's an ordained minister, and he's actually studied the Bible, and he knows he's read Aramaic, or he's read the translations, and like we were talking last night about you know, blessed are the meek, and the meaning of the word meek. It actually changes the point of the story a lot. And so I want someone with that knowledge and that that understanding to be able to teach me those things that I don't know, you know, because I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm like, I still want to find a church, but a community like you guys have got, that I'm a bit jealous. You know?
Well, you're always welcome, mate. Anytime
Yeah, that's
you're
it.
visiting, or
Yeah,
once a year, come on
No,
over.
every week, why not?
Yeah, we'll get it like FaceTime.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
like an
That's it.
online church meeting where people can meet all across the world, and we're all just talking to each other like on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
But no, I get that. Like,
Yeah.
there's pros and cons to it all. Like, yeah, you can get someone who is just has that energy, who naturally takes over, or someone who can barge in and almost just puts that title on themselves and
Yeah.
can kind of destroy that what you've got going on. Especially if they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I certainly don't know everything, and Jay doesn't, and the guys in the group would also agree on that. I think what we've got that we're aware of is that, which I've heard other preachers and teachers saying before, is don't just take what I say for gospel truth. Go away and weigh it up and wrestle with it and figure it out yourself if this is right or if it's not. And I guess if you're blessed in a way where you have a group where someone will have that mindset and actually dedication to study something, to go, oh guys, look what I found and look what I've discovered, and then someone goes, oh, that's really, really cool, that makes sense, and you learn from each other rather than having a group where someone comes in and just kind of takes charge. That is a danger. And I guess then you also, like, there's dangers in the whole thing. You've got someone at the front of church who is the pastor, who believes that he knows what he's talking about, and then a whole congregation of people are being taught the wrong thing, and they've the wrong theology and the wrong mindset. So there's pros and cons to it all, and like I would wrestle that. Your head goes all over the place. You're like, do I be a part of this group? Do I be a part of that group? Where's the pros and cons of this? What's the dangers of that? But at least you're wrestling with it, which is a positive thing, I guess.
I always think the nice thing about our group is that the fact that it's like, and I forget where it is it Corinthians? And it says that, how everyone's a different member of the same body.
Yes.
And what I love about our group is that everyone brings something different to the table. And that's what's really nice. Even on Friday, when I know you weren't there because you were busy, but like on Friday, like, that's what me and Danny was saying. Like, Danny was like, oh, we're talking about love and truth, and he says how, like, you're very well balanced between love and truth, and he says I would be more on the truth side because I'm like very, and then Danny would be more on the loving side, but it works because all together it's a whole, makes a whole. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Do
Do you know what I mean? And I like that. And it's nice that we all do bring something different to it. It's great to see how all the ones who are younger in their faith, how passionate they are to learn and teach, and seeing that grow, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. Like, so, but yeah, so
I think something you were saying is like, don't know what made me think of this, but also the guy at the front of the church, he's just a pardon my French, a dirty, sinful bastard, just the same as you and me, So no one's perfect. There's not going to be some brilliant church or some brilliant pastor that is actually like without faults. That's the whole point of being human. Like, we got all our flaws. So the other part of me goes, I should just start somewhere, join something, and figure it out, and go, right, let's try this one. This seems like a good idea. Oh, this isn't great. But I think iterating what you choose is a lot better than not choosing anything. So just get in there, but I still haven't done it. So I haven't joined the church.
I think, like, too, bro, like, even if you're in a church, say for instance, a bit of worship and stuff like that, and maybe you're not getting the same teaching, doesn't mean it can stop you from learning, because like there's so much on now on YouTube and internet of exactly. Pastors who are amazing pastors. You've got, it's good to learn what not to do as well. And you've got the Bible Project, and you've got all these outlets which is great teachings in them that maybe if you aren't getting that full extent of teaching in the church, but you've a good community and they're nice, welcoming people, then it's not going to stop you from learning. Do you know what I mean?
What's some good online guys that you guys have found that it's like?
Well, I well, I listen to a couple of different guys. I listen to a guy, obviously Bishop Marmari, and now he's Orthodox, but I love his teachings. You know, his teachings is because he's an Aramaic, it's a Syrian Orthodox, so they speak Aramaic.
Yep.
So he goes into real detail about the language, and his teachings is firm, but out of a lot of love as well. And that's why I like him. Do you know what I mean? Plus, he goes for his sermons are 2 hours, like
Jesus.
and he
Yeah.
tells people because yes, I don't care if you're falling asleep. He says, "Wake up, you need to hear the word," and that's why I like him. Do you know what I mean? Because he is
Yeah.
teaching, and he's funny.
Yeah.
Like he's not like you know, you see him in his robe and a big beard.
Yeah.
But he's actually really witty and comedic, and he keeps the crowd laughing. Do you know what I mean?
Nice,
And which is nice, you know. And then also I listened to a guy called Philip Anthony Mitchell, who's a part of a church in America called 2819, and he's would be more in like a sort of Black American pastor side of things, but like not like a Baptist, like a Black Baptist church where they're all like, woo. Do you know what I mean? But but his teachings is very different than Bishop Marmari's.
Yep.
But still good teaching.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, have you got anyone you like?
Yeah, there's a few different preachers and teachers that I would listen to. John Piper is one of them.
Oh,
John MacArthur, R.C. Sproul, Matt Chandler. Those guys I would listen to quite a lot. Each of them come with their own understanding of things.
Yep.
And yeah, their teaching's quite solid. Don't agree with absolutely everything. And I'd say don't agree. I would say more maybe wrestle with to try and wrap my head around, you know, because some people can be really cutthroat in what they think and how they view it. And like, I get it, and to a point I agree, but I just don't really fully get it. For example, I'll explain what I mean by that. Like, John Piper is very much on the understanding and belief that everything that happens is under God's control and sovereignty, because he's sovereign over everything, so that there's a reason and purpose and everything behind everything that takes place, whether that's sickness and pain, suffering, you know, rejoicing, whatever it might be. It's all in God's plan and God's will for these things to take place. And well, even though I know in my mind that God is sovereign and he is above all things, I don't know how much of that I fully can wrap my head around, and whether I agree with it and fully or not. It's not that I don't, it's just I don't know if I do or don't yet. But there's a lot of teaching that he does have, and you know, that I really, really do appreciate, and is really, really helpful.
Yeah, that's like that's like Bishop Murray, obviously, because they're Orthodox. They do things slightly different. Obviously, they have like icons, which is saints and stuff like that, right? Which I don't really agree with, but at the same time, it doesn't take away what he's teaching.
Yeah,
you know, his teaching is solid because he's quoting Bible back and front, you know, and you know, it doesn't mean you have to just not listen to that person just because you disagree with a couple of different points. You know, they're still good teachers. You know what I mean? So
yeah, totally. I mean, like, for example, like you were saying there about him saying, like, you know, oh, I'm going to preach for 2 hours or 3 hours and there's nothing you're going to do about it. You know, I believe it's of God, so sit there and shut up and listen. I mean, like, I don't know how much I agree with that. Like, you know, because at the end of the day, like, you know, for example, is being a mother to her children in what they need any less important than him wanting to preach what he believes God wants to share? You know, if there's a child who's sick in that congregation and they're making it out to church because they feel an obligation to, or a dedication to their church, and they're going out with their kids and they've had a tough morning trying to get their kids out of the church and out to church and get them dressed, and one of the kids is not well, and you know, and then they have, say, time with family they never get to see, really, and it's like a 1 o'clock meeting at their house because everyone else is busy and they have to shoot on. Do they then feel an obligation they have to stay and listen to a 2 hour to 3 hour sermon because he believes it's of God? You know, like, you know, and that's the thing that, you know, kind of gets to me as well, is that when people put a label on, oh, God told me this, or what I'm doing is of God. And it's like, okay, I understand that you believe you've got a calling from God, but at the same time, look, does everyone else in the congregation not, if they're dedicated to Jesus, have a calling of God, where there's something going on in their life, whether it's one of your friends who are struggling with a drug addiction and they need your help, and you're meeting them that afternoon, or you've been working 24 hours every day because you're on call as a nurse or a doctor, and you go to church because you just missed it, and
Yeah.
and then he stands up and says, no, you have to stay here for 3 hours and listen
Yeah,
to this
yeah, yeah,
sermon, and they're like lying there nearly falling asleep because they've been really rammed all
Yeah.
week long. I think like
Yeah.
there needs to be a balance there where a pastor or a teacher goes, right, I'm here to preach a word, but I need to have sensitivity and respect for other people in the congregation who have a life with God going on. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, contrast that with my dad liked going to the Catholic churches because the sermons are so much faster. The Lutherans just waffle and waffle and to be honest, I like him better too. Because church, because like you said, everyone's slammed. If you're a dad and you've got 3 kids and you're the only person bringing in the money. Mum doesn't work because she's looking after 3 kids. Your time is precious, and your time that's free is precious. Do you want to be sitting there listening to the pastor waffle on for 40 minutes, or do you want to have a 15-minute sermon that really makes a difference? Your kids are actually listening, and you can all go home and have lunch and spend time as a family. I think that's fantastic, and it's like bit of this, bit of that.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
Yeah, totally. So like I don't disagree
Yeah.
with the fact that he feels like he wants to do that. For example, whenever I was trying to learn more about church history, I put on a YouTube video and someone's sitting at home and they're going on for about an hour and 45 minutes because they're talking about a particular topic in church history. And I respect that because I can dip into that and come out of it and go into it and come out of it. But that particular person doing that video isn't expecting me to sit,
The whole time.
unless you actually go to a seminar knowing you're going to it for that particular reason, whatever. But it's interesting you talk about that like 15 minutes, because if I hear a church going like, oh, they only preach 15 minutes, in my head I'm like, that's so short. But then actually after this conversation, I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're a pastor of a church and you know your congregation and you know who's in it and you know what their life is like generally outside of church and who they are and what's going on within church, whether there's meetings going on during the week, whether they're having fellowship with each other time and time again, if they're doing Bible studies and stuff, they are getting teaching, they are getting fellowship, they are getting truth. So maybe on a Sunday 15 minutes actually works for that church compared to someone else. Some other church maybe needs the 40 minutes. Who knows?
I'm just sort of like, I'm very much like, I don't know, when it comes to Sunday, I'm very much on the old school sort of side of things, of being like Sunday should be dedicated to the Lord. Do you know what I mean? And but like obviously at the moment, because of what's going through with opening up the shop and stuff like that, like I've been actually apologizing, been praying to God and saying, Father, I'm sorry, that I'm doing what I'm doing on a Sunday, because I don't have any other time. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think at the end of the day, as Jesus turned and said, that that Sabbath.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah. That what was it? Man.
Sabbath was made for man, not the man was not made for the Sabbath. So
Yes.
it was made as a gift to man.
Yes, exactly. But I still think it's nice to have a set day, especially like dedicated to God. Do you know what I mean? And not going to church and then just going to a pub after and having a load of drinks. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, there's respect. There's respect and reverence there. That's essentially what you're trying to focus on. Is that like God he is owed his time. He is owed that moment of pausing and going, wow, God, you are good. And but you do that all the time. Like you do that in your morning prayer whenever you get up and you say to your partner, hold on a second, like I know we've got stuff going on later afternoon, but this is why I need this focus now. And you're quite strict with that, and that's good. And then you meet with us on a Friday night whenever we can. We're planning to baptize a few of our friends here soon. We are trying to meet together and find time to go out and speak to people in the streets and in Belfast and give them food. And not to say that we're doing all these great things, but like I find it hard, or say find it hard, but like I wrestle with the idea that all of this stuff you're doing, but then on the Sunday it's so important that you give God that time. And it's like, I think God has called us to have a real life. And like, for those people that we know of who go throughout their life, Monday to Saturday, and
Here
then
we go.
Sunday. Church is so important.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
for someone like yourself, who
Yeah,
I
every
know
day.
where God is involved in everything.
Yeah.
You're driving down the road and you're praying. You're
Mm.
meeting your friends. You're talking about them. You're reading your Bible in the morning. You're doing you're developing your business to glorify God. All of these things. It's like God. That's where it should be.
Yeah, it
You
should
know,
just be.
it's just be. And then if you're busy like you are,
Yeah.
and you know you can't make it to church on a Sunday,
Yeah.
like you know it's not that you need to be like, oh God, I'm so sorry. It's just like, you know, it's life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
it.
know, it's
And
just
I think that's the key factor too. Is it's bringing God into every aspect of your life every day, and not
Yeah.
just being like, that's what I was telling Tom, like
Mm.
obviously like Sunday Christians who
Yeah.
just go to church on a Sunday and they think they're
Yeah.
saved, and I'm like going, yeah, but where's God in where's God every day of your
Exactly.
life?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
you just think just because you go to church on a Sunday you're saved.
Uh-huh.
That's nonsense, absolute nonsense. You need to be with God. It's a relationship. It's not religion, and that's what I was saying last night. Like religion is like, okay, I go to church on Sunday, tick. I've done this, tick, tick, and it's like, right, okay, I'm saved. And it's like, no, no, you're not,
No.
because you need to actually have that one-way relationship with Jesus Christ, where you're talking to him. Like I sometimes talk to God. People must think I'm a lunatic. Like even sometimes in a chair, I'm like when I'm cutting a client's hair and we're not having a conversation, I'm talking in my head. I'm going, like, do you know what I mean? But it's having that's what Christianity is about. It's having that close relationship with Jesus Christ and with God. And I think having that, you notice a massive change. I think a massive shift as well, because you realize you have that a personal relationship, which means that everything you do, you're not on your own.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I think that's what's beautiful about it, because I know, like you were saying, that you struggle with that sort of more spiritual side of things. He blames his half German genes
Yeah.
for that.
I'm so mechanical. I'm an engineer, you know. Like I like stuff. It all makes sense. It's like it's all Lego. It's great. That's what like makes sense to me. And so I kind of like if we're talking about prayer or talking about like the afterlife or angels and demons, it's kind of like it's I you know that engineering part of my brain goes, that's a bit woo woo, you know.
Yeah.
that's a bit of silliness. But I know it's not. I know it's important, but I can't help that part of my brain going like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very logical that way too. I guess for me, what I took from Bible college, for example, whenever I went, was there's foundations of God's character and who he is that just don't change. And if I believe in those core things, then everything else we can discuss and we can talk about and we can wrestle with, but it doesn't change those core truths, which are very logical and grounded. Like, I don't know your background, but
Yeah.
if there is anybody in your life who you know really, really well and you put a lot of trust in, you know that there's certain truths about that particular person that are logical, structured, and that's who they are. So if anyone said anything about them or said something the wrong way about them, or maybe they did something that you didn't fully understand, before you bite and before you say something, before you do something, you'll say to yourself, well, I actually really care about that person. I know who they are. That's not their intention. Clearly not. Couldn't be, because I know who they are. So I'll wait to either have a conversation with them, find out why or what's going on there or whatever. And that's a good foundation for a relationship. And I guess that's exactly where I came from, where when you're wrestling with things that seem all kooky and crazy and like, you know, how does healing work? How does prophecy work? How do these crazy things that work? How does Satan work? How does sin work? How do all these things work? I know that God is good. I know that he is love. I know that he cares for us and he cares for me. I know that he knows all things and that he's in complete control and there's nothing outside of his understanding. So when I know all of those things, I'm like, okay, I'm safe. It's okay. We can wrestle with those things. Without, you know, because a lot of time people will be like, you know, oh, that's just crazy. Like I can't wrap my head around that. So God's this crazy thing in the sky. So I don't even pay attention to it. But yeah.
I think I'm sort of at that place as well, where it's like I know I've got a framework in my head for at least the basics, the core foundations, and I think like you know, that's what I was taught at church, you know, and that's how I understand. There's a certain way I understand God to be, and all that other stuff is kind of like, we'll figure that out. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on there yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is great.
Yeah, that's it. It's fun.
It is. I find that that's what makes my faith interesting, is that like passages of scripture
Yeah.
that you read and you're like, what on earth does that even mean?
Yeah.
And then you dissect it and you find out, oh, that's what that means. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's other passages you'll not ever wrap your head around, and
Yeah.
you just
Like
have to get
Revelation.
over that. Yeah, like Revelation. Passages in that there's books that have countless books of, oh, I understand. Read
Yeah.
my book.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
come on,
And it
mate.
means
You don't understand.
Nah, that's it. And it mean and what he's decided, what Revelations mean, is completely another planet to what another guy has written another
Yeah.
book about. You know,
Yeah. It's like all those books, self-help books. It's like,
Yeah.
you want to lose weight, you want to quit smoking,
Yeah.
you want to get your mind right,
Yeah.
read my book.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
it. That's it.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
More
okay.
importantly, buy
I
my
actually
books.
done one. Alan Carr's stop drinking, right?
Alan
Man,
Carr.
I started.
Yeah,
I
but-
started.
Isn't
but-
that the comedian?
No, it's not the comedian.
Come
Come on, Jay,
No,
you
no,
better
no.
quit smoking.
No, it didn't work.
No.
It didn't work. That was when
Yeah.
I was in London. I actually genuinely read through it. Like
Yeah.
it was an audiobook.
Yeah.
On Spotify.
I did the same.
Didn't
You know?
work.
Yeah. Because it's like, so in that book, I found it so odd, because I drink on the weekends and that. You know, I don't feel like it's a debilitating part of my life. It definitely makes my life worse.
I could not
Look,
function without a drink.
I can't wake up without a drink, but I don't have a problem. No, it definitely makes my life worse. But also, like there's Jesus drank wine. He turned water into wine. There's something to be said about like, enjoy at least in a responsible manner. Enjoy all of life.
Yeah.
I think I don't have a problem with like this is me personally. I don't have a problem with any particularly any drug under the sun if it's enjoyed in a responsible manner. I think meth is kind of like you can't enjoy that in a responsible manner. So I think that's kind of out of the question.
Going out for a steak dinner.
What's that?
Anyone for another wee bit of a line? A wee key.
That's it.
Or Jack up in Harlan.
Yeah, that's it. Like, okay, that's sort of off
a
the
family sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Hi, Daddy.
Yeah, but I
You know who my daddy be?
yeah, but coffee is a drug. We can all enjoy that, and that's fine. Oh, that's a nice lawnmower.
Yeah, I'm just gonna close these windows.
Yeah.
No, we're not condoning taking class A's, obviously.
No.
But,
But that's me personally. That's my own opinion, and that might change in time and all that.
He cuts my grass.
Where did I set that? Right.
I got it.
Oh.
I'm just noticing here that Jordan's gardener's my gardener. So he is.
The guy who he works for is a guy who I used to go to church with. So I've known him longer. He's my friend first.
But yeah, I think what you're saying, like, see, the thing is, like, yes, Jesus turned water into wine. Yes, people did drink wine, but like, it's scientifically proven now that wine back then was like 2-3% because
Oh,
they
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
the same. It wasn't the same fermenting process.
It's like-
Yeah, and
Wine,
water was
wine is not espresso martinis, you know.
No.
That's
And so, like, the thing is, yes, totally agree. You can go and have a drink. There's no like, I personally don't drink because of my personality.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can have a drink as long as you know you can control yourself. As long as you can say, right, there's 2 pints. Okay, I can call it quits. You know, I think the dangers is if you can't, then you're better just not. Because,
And it depends also on the result of your drinking. If the result of your drinking is you have a nice time with your friends and nothing else negative, fine, go for it. But if the result of your drinking is your life turns to shit, then stop.
you start fighting and swearing.
Yeah. And
Like-
I definitely need to drink less. I need to find the right place for it. But and one day I'll probably stop, but not tomorrow. I think I'm still gonna have a nice glass of wine on the beach with my girlfriend. I'm gonna do that. you know.
but, like,
I'm happy to.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly.
mean?
Because there's no negative result. If there is a negative result at that, I'll reel it back. you know?
Like, prime example, like what you've seen with me when I used to drink heavily.
Yeah.
where it's like I end up fighting,
Yeah.
getting really aggressive, and it's like, so what's the point?
Yeah.
Just cut that off.
Yeah.
You know, because I know it makes me into this person this angry person who I don't want to be. Do you know?
Whether you're a Christian or not, you know, like
Yeah.
it's the same
Mm-hmm.
same principle. You
Mm.
know, if you're gonna be getting blocked and pissed and coming
Mm.
home to your wife and kids or to your partner, or you're getting up the next day and you're feeling like crap and you're going into work to, you know, perform well and whatever, like it's just well, you say common sense. Common sense is not common, but common
No.
sense, you know, you have a few pints or you know, within reason,
Mm.
and get on with your life.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
no one gets hurt.
Mhm.
You know, it's simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were asking there at the start, like who you are, like, and you were saying a wee bit like you're an engineer, like, so
Yeah.
tell us a bit about like your actual work life background sort of thing.
Yeah, in Oz, I was an electrician. Got kind of bored of that, and then when I moved over, I was like, I want something completely different. And then I worked in a dive bar at night, and then during the day, I was working with autistic kids in a primary school. You know,
That's so random.
yeah, right. It was as different from electrician as I could think of.
And done MMA training for the
Oh,
the school for the kids.
yeah.
What?
Yeah,
What did you do?
I've done 2 years of jiu-jitsu and 2 years of MMA, of Muay Thai.
Did you actually do that? Or is this just
No,
a joke?
No,
actually
no,
can
I
do
I
that.
do
Oh,
that.
see,
Yes.
okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
I was joking about doing it to teach kids.
To teach. Yeah.
You practice on the kids.
Yeah.
Don't teach them. It's like, sit still, Jimmy.
Yeah. No, but that was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, it earned me no money, and I was using my savings to pay rent and that. So I was looking for an engineering job, maybe an electrician, and then I landed something like working maintenance at a hotel, fancy one in middle of London, and then worked up the ranks, and now quit.
Worked at the ranks and then quit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving back.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
moving back. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and is your girlfriend, is she from there, from here, or
She's from New Zealand. Met in Australia. We were casual in Oz, and then she moved over, got together over here, and she's a PT at like a personal trainer
Yeah.
at a high end gym in London, but obviously not anymore because we're leaving.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what are you guys gonna do? Do you have family over there? Do you have a plan? What is your vision for moving back, or what's your?
Probably we're gonna have to. My parents live in Toowoomba, which is like 2 hours west of Brisbane, and we're gonna freeload off of them for a little bit. Thank you. And then probably move down to Melbourne. I've got a couple of mates there, and find sort of, you know, move up the ladder a bit in the jobs that we got, but not quite the same. You know, finding something that's interesting in both our fields. Don't really know what it's gonna look like yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But-
So PTing and doing engineer stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
cool.
see. We'll see how it all pans out.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, I think like
Yeah.
me and Lucy wanted to eventually go over to Australia, over that direction, and experience. I've never been, and
Really? Yeah.
everyone, like a lot of people from here, just tend to do that.
Yeah.
Just get up and go. It's like, oh, you heard about that guy that we know growing up? He's in Australia. Oh, okay. And so she, and so she, and so
Yeah,
she, and so
yeah.
she. You know, like.
So it's a funny thing. All the Brits and Irish turn 25 and move to Australia. All the Aussies turn 25 and move over here.
So we had to swap countries for
And
a
that's
while.
it. And half of us swap back and half of us stay there.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're like meeting people from Northern Ireland over there.
legit,
You're like,
legit.
what's the point? It's just better weather.
Yeah. I don't know how many Aussies are moving to Northern Ireland, but
I do know the coffee scene's really good in Australia.
In Melbourne.
fabulous.
Yeah, Melbourne. Like a lot of the coffee professionals that I know or like watch or listen to, you know, coffee's just banging over
Yeah.
there, and like that's one thing. Like I just had this dream that
I can
when the
see you.
business made,
Yeah.
like when my business gets to the point of where we want it to be, that we could, because I guess whenever I opened the coffee business, like my dream and my like what I really enjoyed was literally, so it sounds so like obvious, but I love just making coffee. I love just serving coffee and just having conversations with people, and it provided a wage for me, and that was enough.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
then it's grown that it is needed now for my wife, for me to actually survive, and for all the other guys who work for us. So I would like to get back to the point where it started, where we just had like a wee coffee dock somewhere, not even a big cafe, just something small where people can come in casually, sit, chat, and you know, and I have this vision of like being beside the beach somewhere, like a wee hatch open and just like chilling outside, and you know, we've made enough money that we don't have to worry if we don't make money that day, you
Yeah,
know, and you're
yeah.
just making coffee for fun,
Sick.
you know. I
Love it.
think that would be class.
Can't leave me.
What?
You can't leave me.
You can cut hair beside me at the beach.
if I get in.
Yeah. No, mate, we love coffee. Coffee in Melbourne's great. It's there's a couple of in Collingwood. I'm thinking of a couple where it's just enormous coffee shops, and they're just specialty nonsense. I love it. I love it. I don't know what I'm ordering, but I order the fancy nonsense, and I go, "Ooh, that's lovely."
I'm sure the flat white came from Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Came from over that neck of woods. Yeah.
Which is mad.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, no, I love that. Like, when people say, "Oh, I'm not a big fan of coffee," a lot of the time, what they really mean is they're not a fan of like the dirt, trash, burnt coffee that they think coffee is. And then let someone try coffee for the first time, like that's actually good coffee, and they're like, "Oh, that's actually really nice. It's really sweet. It's really creamy. It's like it's nutty. It's chocolatey, and it's good."
Do you have hard water in the London? Or is it pretty, because I know Scottish water is lovely. London water, terrible. In London, I can't stand the coffee. Even artisan stuff not for me.
Well, I mean, a lot of the time, good coffee places will have a decent filter
Yeah. It
underneath
softens
their
them out,
machine,
yeah.
and that softens the water, which
Our
you know.
water is better.
Yeah.
Our water is better. It still has obviously stuff in it that you wouldn't really want to be drinking. Like I very rarely now drink tap water. I just
No
not to
fluoride.
be no fluoride. Try and avoid fluoride as much as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just drink out of the bottles of water that I buy from the shop, whatever, and even the coffee and stuff that I would use or brew with. You know, I use particular water, or else I add wee sachets and stuff to the water. And
But then the problem is with bottled water too is BPAs. So
Yeah.
then it's like right, so this, and then cut out the fluoride, cut out all those toxic chemicals, but then I have to take BPAs, and then it's just so hard to deal with. Like, you know, it's because it's like the best way to do it is have it obviously filtered and then glass bottles of water. I'm like, mate, I'm not walking about with a glass bottle of water,
I know.
everywhere,
you have to choose your battles. You have to say to yourself, like, what can I live with, and
Yeah.
try your best to cut
Walking
out the
kill me
crap.
slower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But also, there's like 5,000 years ago, we were drinking whatever we found,
Yeah.
Just a puddle.
Yeah, legit. I mean, we had
Probably
a
be healthier than the flipping.
Oh,
probably,
I
yeah.
probably would.
You know,
Just leave it.
pipes and stuff where our water comes out of
Well,
now.
Oh, mate.
Tom was telling me this mad thing yesterday, right? Carbon butter.
Oh,
Carbon butter.
gross, right? Okay, so natural gas gets piped into your house. Before it gets there, there's a bunch of filters and like processes, right? The sediment from those processes is basically solid carbon, and they can use that to make butter. And my question is, why? Why do we need carbon butter? Do we not have enough milk? Do we need to replace the do we? Would I like plastic on my toast? No. Do I want solid carbon on my
So,
toast?
like, what butter is being made with carbon? Is it
America.
I don't know.
America or like?
I'm pretty sure it was an American
I'm gonna
thing.
look it up.
Yeah, go on.
We'll have to do
It's like Joe Rogan. Here, pull that up.
Yeah.
Carbon butter.
Yeah,
because I only use like grass fed.
Yeah.
Local butter now, because and it's crazy. You can taste the difference in it as well.
Yeah.
Compared to like easy spread flora.
Yeah.
Carbon.
I mean,
butter.
it's hard to do whatever the right thing is, because the right thing, like for your health, just changes minute by minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like whenever like I went vegan for a while.
Nice.
And then went vegetarian for a while, and then went back to eating meat again.
Yeah.
Because I realized that actually vegan and vegetarian actually kills more animals than actually eating locally sourced, butcher meat. Now I try not to buy meat from supermarkets and stuff, and I try not to eat try not to eat as much fast food as I possibly can. Try and make sure that the meat that I'm eating is good meat. But I found that veganism, like for example oat milk and stuff like that, like what that causes, and the destruction of fake cheese, and
Yeah.
having to live a life on vegetables just kills all these different wee creatures.
Yeah.
Well, this is hilarious, right? Right, carbon butter, right? This is gonna. It's funny because what we spoke about last night, and the certain super powered person's name, and it's hilarious because he's backed this too, right?
Oh, fantastic.
So, so obviously it started in Illinois, Home lab is in San Jose in California. Technology uses carbon dioxide from the air and hydrogen from water to reduce fats, a process that avoids traditional agriculture. Purpose to provide sustainable, environmentally friendly alternative to animal and plant-based fats, with a focus on eliminating the greenhouse gas emissions and land use associated with conventional butter production. Backing, the company has received support from Bill Gates and his investment firm, Breakthrough Energy Ventures. So, yeah, how funny is that? Current status: Seaver is working with food suppliers and restaurants with consumer products expected to be available by 2027. So, how funny is that? Like, so what's Bill Gates not behind?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like everything that's just wrong with this world, he's pumping money into.
The biggest fear is depopulation. You know.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
sorry.
Overpopulation.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
overpopulation. Yeah, so we just have to wipe out 60% of the world.
That's it.
You
That's
know,
it.
as if he can play God.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
I
then
can-
everyone looks at him as if he's a hero. And I'm
Yeah.
like, he literally came out in 2015 in a TED talk stating that we had to depopulate the earth. And I'm like, so then,
So which people?
but that's what I'm saying.
Who take your pick, Bill. Who's dying?
But this
Like,
is-
come on, what are you saying?
But,
Yeah,
but
what
this
are you
is why
saying?
I'm saying it's like you can see, like, for example, and it's mad how people would before say this is all conspiracy, even though they're all true. Coming out, like, for example, 3D printed meat, right? 3D printed meat, right, is a thing now, right?
Yeah.
Which is absolute madness,
Yeah.
you know. And then all these things like the carbon butter, all this fake crap, because it's supposed to be made cheap to them. So who's going to buy it? Working class families, people who can't afford it, and it's to kill off working class people and keep the rich rich. Do you know?
I seen a politician who was advocating for his constituency there recently, where he found that in the lower class population, were being charged like 20% more on produce than the middle and upper class. So he was like, why is it in these, certain areas, these products are being sold for this much, whenever these other areas are actually paying cheaper for it?
Where was this?
It was over somewhere in England.
True.
Yeah.
I think I saw something about that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
going to different, like the same, going to a Tesco in 3 different areas, and it's all different prices or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Tesco or someone else.
Maybe
there
you
was
should-
all lower class, middle class, upper class, and found out that the lower class people were actually being charged more for their produce than the upper class and middle class.
Oh,
Maybe you should go to West London and,
Yeah.
and do your shopping in West London.
maybe.
So,
Just
go-
It's like, was it that wee analogy of someone being like, bottled water, in the plane is this much, bottled water here is this much, and it's this much here, and it's this much there, so like,
it's just water.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the issue isn't,
Free out the tap.
who you are, it's just where you are is the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most expensive supermarket I've ever went to was in London, and it was Whole Foods
Oh yeah.
in Kensington, right? I mean, a wee tiny bottle of orange juice, pure orange juice, that size, $6.50. Right? I looked at it and went, is there gold dust in it? Like, is it going to make me super strong? Like, what $6.50 for just freshly squeezed oranges?
Yeah.
I was going, nah. I was like, I'm not buying that. I'm not paying $6.50 for orange juice. Like, there's not a chance.
Sorry, fellas. I'm busting for a whiz.
Yeah.
I can pause it.
Wunderbar.
Cool. So
Yeah.
we're talking about like before the break,
Yeah.
like about things killing us.
Yeah.
Essentially, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you just have to like choose your battles and choose like what you can kind of live with and what you can't live with. Like I was talking to my old pastor before about this. Like I had this like season in my life where I was like freaking out about everything, and like we were talking about before, like how do we live our lives honorably to God, when the world is falling apart around you. Like the shoes that you buy could be made by like a wee kid over in wherever. The clothes that you buy can affect all these different sort of people groups, and the food that you eat harms animals, and the stuff that you have can be contributing to X, Y, and Z, and even the taxes that you pay go to things that you don't agree with, and you just end up sitting in the corner not living your life because you're afraid to.
You're afraid to do anything because it
Yeah.
might be doing bad in some way or another.
Yeah.
Like a nice solution to the clothes thing is just shop at charity shops most of the time. That's what I do, and it's so cheap. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I buy used shoes off Vinted because
Yeah.
like I'd rather give my money to someone else, and it's like that upcycling sort of an idea. Uh, the food stuff I'm pretty bad with, honestly. I buy the cheapest thing I can because that's all I can afford. Well, or really, so I have money to go and have a gallivant around Europe. You know.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Like me and Lucy would do that too. We would like buy a lot of stuff from like vintage shops and Depop and stuff and or Vinted or whatever. And like, very rarely would I like buy myself brand new things. Like maybe a pair of jeans just because I find them like if they don't fit, you can send them back. Whereas Depop and stuff you can't, and then you're stuck with a pair of jeans. So and I
And then
maybe
you
only
put that
have
on
like
that on Depop. List it your own.
So I maybe only have like 3 pairs of jeans, but I have like multiple shirts and t-shirts and shoes and whatever all from secondhand stuff.
My things coats and shoes.
Yeah.
I love coats and shoes. Like I buy coats, so I don't even need a coat. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's a nice coat. It's a really nice coat. Like,
I need that. No, you don't know. I need it.
I didn't need a coat until I got to this side of the world. I didn't own one. I owned this was probably the warmest jumper I owned.
Like would you wear that stuff over in Australia, or is it always just shorts and t-shirts?
Yeah. This is Brisbane winter. Like currently, it's just like a bottom of 15 max, and then a top of 22, and it's like, oh, brisk today,
That's nuts.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm going out in the shorts and t-shirt there, I'm like, what's a swelter in here? This is hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
I know. You think about it, like people coming from like Britain to being over Australia, like in a prison island back in the day, and then they bucked out, and it's like 40-degree heat. And they're like,
yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Like,
I know. But here, like on a serious note, actually going back, something popped in my head there. Like you were saying about how you knew Jay before and how you know him now. Like, what was that like for you to see that change? I mean, I know you said that, that you believe or that you're a Christian now, but you don't go to church. But so what does your faith kind of look like? I say if you have one, and also then what was your experience then to seeing Jay being the different person that he is now?
Pretty unreal to see him glow up like this. Honestly, it's sick. I love it. And I think we even when we're still partying together, like we would still have these chats anyway, but it'd be at 2 a.m. rather than 10 in the morning. So like it's cool like that. I guess and also because we're both Christians, and so we talk about it, and we kind of both wrestling with the same ideas. I guess for me, my faith, I'm trying to act in a way that is good and is the way that God wants me to, I guess, and past that and also I listen to a bunch of like the Jordan Peterson stuff, like when he's going through going through books of the Bible, I listen to the whole Genesis series and some of the Exodus, but I have so much going on in my life. I'm like, right, I'm gonna kind of park that for later, which is a bit naughty, but yeah, I know. It's like I feel a bit guilty about it, but what are you gonna do?
But I think though, bro, it's like even when you were talking about you like once you leave London, the problem is, mate, see in London's just a fast paced sort of live life like on edge, like as in like just do whatever you want, party, blah blah blah. And I think when you leave that scenario, for example, when you go back home doors, things are going to change.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a very different outlook because you're starting to get you're in the late 20s now. You're going to start to go, do you know what? I've had my fun. I'm done with this. Do you know? And I think you do get that point. That I think it's very hard to do that in London because it's so much socializing with especially like every day. It's like, oh, do you want to go for a couple of pints? And then before you know it, especially when you're a partier and you like socializing like me and you do.
Yeah.
The problem is then it's like, all right, it's 12 o'clock. Someone goes, hey, do you want to get back gear? And you're like, why not? Only take a wee
Yeah.
bit. And then before you know it, you're sitting in a house party in East London to flipping 6, 7 in the morning. You're like, flip's sake, how did I get here again?
Yeah.
Do you know? But I think when you take yourself out of that environment, you know, things will change
I tell
in
you,
that way.
I'll tell you what. So I got this this group of Aussie mates, and they love the packet, and it's almost every weekend, and it's almost every time they hang out together. I like those guys, but I don't like that, and I want to. Saying to my missus, every time that I hang out with them, I don't want to just keep doing that. I want to just like hang out with them as dudes. But for them, I I get to know them once the guard comes down at 2 in the morning, and it's like at that point I can start talking to them, and they open up and they say, and we can actually have good chats then, because they put up this facade until that point. And I pretty much I'm gonna leave London and almost divorce a bunch of them as friends because of exactly that reason. If you can't be yourself, if you can't be a genuine version of yourself all the time, then you're missing out. And I don't want to be around it.
Yeah, but that
Wasted investment.
Yeah.
Wasted time.
Yeah.
You're investing. You're wanting to invest in people, and you're not getting anything in return. And it's that's what friendship should be: give and take. You know that you open up to them, they open up to you, and who wants to have to get completely out of your head to actually relate to someone? Let's go get completely blocked.
Yeah.
So that I can find out how your week has been.
Yeah.
Authentically.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, it's been crap, mate.
Yeah.
And I'm really struggling.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that's real. We didn't need to spend 50, 60 quid to find that out.
That's it.
a couple of hundred.
Yeah. But I think it's important, and it's the toughest thing ever. Giving away friends, just going, look, I actually can't. I don't want to be around you anymore.
Well,
and that's like something that this year for me has sort of been a tough thing to get through.
Well, I think, Bo, and it's a major thing. Like, I've had to cut off people from London, and I've actually had people from London message me saying, "Are you okay?" Because they see me post stuff about God,
Yeah.
and I text back going, "I've never been better,"
Yeah.
But I know they'll, and I've just had to cut that off because they'll never understand it, and all they want to do is get drunk and get messed up and go to raves and party, and I'm like, no, I'm not part of that anymore, mate. And as simple as that. And even when I came back over here, obviously certain guys over here who are still involved in certain things, I had to tell them, I said, listen, I can't run about you until, and the thing is, one of them now, I've been praying for him, and he's starting to change his life around,
Nice.
hopefully, and because it's what he said to me. He says, bro, I know that you weren't running about me because of what I'm doing, but I just want you to know that I'm being serious. I really want to build a relationship up with God, and I want to be a good friend to you again and come into your path. And I was like, it's amazing. That's all I could ask. And he knows that, and we're very much on a term where we understand. That's why we haven't been running about each other, because I physically can't be around what he's doing anymore, especially as a Christian. Like, it's not the place to be.
I think that it's your role as a Christian to be somewhat of a role model as well. Like
100%.
you if you do right and you try and live your life properly and be a good person, whatever that means, really living your life as God intends it, then that's going to happen.
Well,
You're going to rub off on people, and that's I'd say we were talking about like the difference in like what is Lutheranism. That's kind of the
which I find quite nice, actually.
yeah, that's the essence of the preaching, I guess. It's not like going out and grabbing someone off the side of the street and saying, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're not." It's more like be good, be around people it's like be good, live well. People will follow. People will ask questions. Like, hey man, you're really nice. What makes you so nice? Well, I go to church every Sunday. Like, okay, well, would you want to come? Well, no. But tell me more about this.
Well, that's why, funny enough, I was reading in First Peter. It says like conducting yourself in the right way around non-believers. Because you are that example.
Yeah.
You know, and if you show love and kindness to them, and this sense of meekness and sense of proper self-control, and people start go, wow, how can you do that? Like, that fella just came up there and told you to F off, and you just were so calm about it. Or, you know, or like, you know, you used to be mad on drugs, but a bag of coke was out lying out in front of you, but you didn't take it. And it's like going, those are the sort of things that shows people, and then people start asking, going like, how can you be like this for the person you
People
were?
are seeking stuff.
Yeah.
You know, people are seeking, you know, peace.
Mm.
Essentially, at its core, that's what people want. They want peace. They want peace of mind to know that the life that they're living is right, and the choices they're making are good for themselves, good for those who are around them, who they love, and they want joy in life. And essentially, that's what gets them up in the morning, goes to work, because they're trying to find something. They're trying to provide for their family. They're wanting to do right by those in their life. And then they try and find the joy to escape the hard work and hard graft. And the way to escape it is the only way they know, which is through either alcohol, drugs, gambling, whatever. And that's where they go to. And then when they see someone who's actually full of joy, full of peace, and their escapism isn't their escapism, which is actually something that actually destroys the soul and the mind and the body. They're like, how can you be working so hard and go through all the crap that you're going through, but you are so full of joy and so full of peace, and you don't need a drop of alcohol, and you don't need to go out and have drugs, and you don't need to gamble, you don't need to do all those things. That's really interesting. Like, what is that about? And you know, and Scripture talks about like a fragrance that flows from you, even in how you even how you talk and how you conduct yourself. You know, when someone's maybe up in your face, or you know, someone's being like really like over the top or aggressive or whatever it might be, and you're just sitting there just like, yeah, just being like totally mellow, and like, how, like, why?
I think
You know,
you're talking about escapism. I think one cool thing about about Christianity is it's like you're bringing to the surface those things that you're actually trying to deal with, and I think that's the point of like prayer and talking to people is I'm struggling with this. Whereas if you're struggling with something and you're not a Christian and you're not in that world, then it's like off we go. You know, like it's gone. Yeah. So it doesn't help. I think Christianity and you know, when my sister or brother calls me and it's like, how you been doing? Well, like, well, I've been struggling with this, and it's like we can talk about it properly and openly, and it helps you deal with it. It helps you get through it and figure out what's going on with it. If you're just drinking until 2 in the morning and telling your mate, yeah, I actually cheated last weekend, and neither of you remember it, then that's not dealing with it. But
No,
it's an escape, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But that's definitely I think that's also why Christians are chill. They're relaxed. They're open, like things like that, because you're always dealing with your problems head on, and it's tough, but it's the only way you can actually be happy.
Yeah, totally, 100%. I mean, it's interesting. Like I was thinking when we were talking about like letting go of people.
Yeah.
You know, if you are, say, someone who's not a Christian, but you've turned your life around, that because it can happen too. You don't like it doesn't. You don't have to be only a Christian for your life to change.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what Jesus has actually done. It's not to make your life better, and people can better themselves without God. It's not that God, yes, can transform you, and clearly, evidentially, has done in many people. But it's not to say, because people will say that, like, you know, okay, you know, your life is different, and you know, Jesus may or may not have changed you, but like, you know, that's not to say that someone else can't just change themselves or change their life, which they can do. And when those people do that, people don't get at them for, say, cutting people out of their life. You know, they will say, good for you. You know, like, well done. Like you were strong, and you know, you took that change, and now you've got your own business, and now you've got your own house, and you're financially stable, and you've lost a lot of weight, and you can see that you're happier, and you know, good for you. But then it's like, whenever you are a Christian and you're trying to do that, and you've done it because of your faith, and you've done it because of the person you now want to be, people will look at that and go, oh, you're very judgmental, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like, you know, like, how dare you judge those people? And it's like,
yeah,
well, if I'd done that, what he had done down the road, like, you would have applauded me. You'd
yeah,
have said, well done for cutting those people out of your life. You know, it's about time you made that change. You know,
yeah,
you're a better
yeah,
person now.
Yeah.
No, but like, oh, now he's good living. You know, he's just a
Aye.
judgmental. He hates gays, and you know, he wants everyone else to burn in hell. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and it's like, you know, no, that's not what it
That's
was
not,
at all.
no, exactly,
You
exactly.
know, but yes, it's totally true. You know,
Yeah.
like, but then again, you know, it's hard to come by where
Mm.
you meet, you know, Christian people who are willing to talk
Yeah.
openly
Yeah.
about their faith and about what they're struggling with.
Mm.
And because I've been around people before where I was in churches where I was wanting to talk about certain things or be closer and more open and to essentially be like that you're saying, you
Mm.
know, like clear minded, you know,
Mm.
peace in your head. You've spoken things out loud. You know, you've had that fellowship and support, and people can, even Christians can look at you weirdly and be like, you know, like, I'm not telling you my problems. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
opening up with you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and so it takes a particular kind of special group of people, you know,
Mm.
to say, you know what, it's better for me to be open and honest between with people and actually be willing to be vulnerable and take that risk
Mm.
because people don't want to be vulnerable. And
Mm.
but the thing is, you need to be for you to actually have that peace
Yeah.
of mind and be clear, and you know, you need to be willing to be vulnerable with people. You have
Yeah.
to. I guess this was so hurtful about churches
Mm.
and why people say, like, you know, oh, church hurt me,
Yeah.
you know, and they maybe like fall away from their faith
Mm.
because they've put all of their heart and soul into something
Mhm.
for them just to be
Judged.
spat at,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
or judged, or you know, they've had a serious hurt. We can see, okay, that's why they've kind of fell away from church and
Yeah.
why they
Mm.
are where they are.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, I totally agree. And like especially certain churches, like especially say over here too. You know what I mean? People can come to the church and maybe they've slipped up with something or whatever else, and then the people in the church are condemning them, and like you know, and just puts them off completely because they just go, nah, do you know what?
Mm.
And that's how even what we were saying, even because in Northern Ireland with the history of the Troubles and stuff like that, pushed so many people away from God because people used the whole thing of Protestant and Catholic, which was
Yeah.
nothing to do with Protestant and Catholic. It was to
Yeah.
do with like identity of British or Irish. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then that's just pushed so many people in this country away from God because it goes, well, why would I believe in religion? Look what religion's done in that. You know, look at Christianity. You know, people murdered and killed each other over it. And I'm like, no, but that's not. They weren't Christians. They just used the labels of Catholic and Protestant to identify themselves, but they weren't believers and they were not followers of Jesus Christ.
Just to push their agenda.
It's to push their agenda. Do you know? And it's so sad that this country done that. Do you know? And you know, and that's why we like. Even I remember my first girlfriend. She was like, used to tell me, I'm a Catholic. And I'm like, you're not. You're an atheist. And she's like, yeah, but mum and dad's Catholic. And I'm like, that doesn't make you Catholic. You have to believe in God to be a Catholic. You can't say I'm a Catholic atheist.
Yeah.
Do you know? You know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, meet people even from the Protestant side say I'm a Protestant. I'm like, but you don't believe in God.
That's like they're born into that family. My family's Protestant, so I'm Protestant.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
almost like an identity, like your last name. You know,
Yeah,
and it's like it's
yeah.
not.
It's like a race.
It's not like
It's,
that.
it's like a race thing. You know, like growing up in this country, you used to say things like, "Oh, your eyes are too close together. You're a Catholic, or your head's too big. You're a Catholic." And it's like going, "What?"
I can't support Celtic because my dad's a Protestant.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You can't be wearing fucking green, white, and orange shoes. You know, you know, but it's like it's so stupid, and it's driven so many people in this country, especially the older generation. It's driven so many people away from God. You know, and
I
that's
think-
the reason why people in like their, you know, their 40s and their 50s in this country, so a lot of them struggle to believe in God. You know, because they've seen they grew up in the heart of the Troubles, like they've seen the killings, the shootings, they've seen the division. They're going, well, that's a lot of nonsense. I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
True in all the other places of the world too, because like if you didn't grow up Christian and your experience of Christianity is like some Bible bashing Baptist in the south of America, just like you, yeah, you know, oh, God will smite you, and you're like, yeah, I believe in that. Like, no.
Yeah.
But like I think another thing we were talking about last night is like horrible things have been done in the name of a church or Christianity, but it's not the essence of it. And I think I I like the idea that I'm a Lutheran because the whole point of the Reformation is like get away with all this nonsense. There's a whole bunch of bullshit in the church, and just go back to the core values and stick with that, and that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, as we were saying there, like there's bad in everything.
Yeah.
You know, I remember seeing someone, like, it's so simple, but I remember seeing someone put a post up on Facebook, and it was like, why is it that people who go to church are nasty people, and those people who have tattoos are the nicest people? And I was like, what have tattoos got to do with someone's personality?
Yeah.
And what has going to church got to do with Christians as a whole? I was like,
Yeah.
people are people.
So,
People are horrible whether they're a Christian
yeah,
or
and
not.
sometimes people in churches are horrible people.
Yeah.
I'll try and tell the abridged version of my dad's dad. So not a good bloke, Irish policeman, kind of made a mess of his own family. Nine sons and daughters, and hardly even speak to each other. In his later years, mum's a Protestant, dad's a Catholic. Dad's experience of going to church with his dad was sitting in the back row, never standing up, never singing a single hymn, and then on the car ride home, dad's talking shit about the pastor's about the priest's sermon the whole time. So, he doesn't know a thing. He drinks too much. He's whatever. And then he'd go home and be a horrible human being. And then in his later years, when none of his kids talk to him anymore, goes to church every day. He's one of the board members on, like, it's the St. Vincent de Paul Society, a charity,
We've got one over here, Vincent de Paul.
Oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah. So he was like a board member or something there, and all of the board members hated him because he's a horrible guy. But he's if from the outlook, this guy is like he's really high up in the church. He's whole part of this charity organization. He must be a really good guy. He must be the utmost Christian, but really horrible guy. And if you're looking at it from an outsider's perspective, that's the most Christian dude ever, but the worst. So there's good and bad people, because there's good and bad people, and we're all sinners. We're all different gradations of good and bad. But you're whether or not you're involved in the church doesn't mean you're a good person.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally. You can go to church and you can be a bad person, and you might not even be a Christian at all.
Yeah.
But people look at you from the outside, and I think a lot of time that's what people want.
Mm.
People want people to view them and think of them highly.
Pride.
Yeah, it's a prideful thing.
It's like a pharisaic outlook.
Yeah, it is. It's like, look at me. I've got my Bible. I've got my suit on.
Yeah.
I'm respectable in society. I'm ticking all the right boxes in this.
I think it's a sociopath just taking advantage of a church,
Yeah.
And there's gonna be, I think sociopaths is like roughly 4% of the population, so 1 in 25 people is a bit of a shitter, Or they're gonna take advantage of whoever is around him and whatever's around him to try and move themselves up in the world in whatever way that means.
Yeah.
So and that's human nature. It's no one in the world's gonna be,
Yeah. No, totally. That I think that's my struggle whenever I'm like, people are like, I don't go to church and I don't believe in that crap because of what someone did to me or the experience that I've had.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you imagine someone saying, like, that I don't want to, like, say your girlfriend or someone who's close to you, or someone like, I don't know, brother, sister, or someone, and then being like, well, I can't be friends with you because of what he did to me. And it's like, you may never see that person or whatever, but you're I'm not going to be friends with you because of what that person did.
I don't believe in education because my teacher was shit. Like,
yeah, exactly. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. What? So
maths isn't real because my maths teacher was bad.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
that's the way a lot of people think. So yeah, be open.
I can't be a scientist. I don't believe in science because the science teacher I had in school was like, slapped me my girlfriend's rear end with a ruler, which did happen in my school. Yeah. A teacher got sacked because he would the girls would come in and he would get a ruler and he would smack their bum and stuff
No.
with the ruler.
Oh God.
But when you're that young and you see that happen, you just think it's funny.
Yeah.
But then, like,
yeah,
when you
yeah.
get a wee bit older, you're like, he got fired for that. You're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That wasn't actually right to do that.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah,
back
yeah,
then,
yeah.
you're like, yeah,
What's the name of it again?
junior high, like in junior high.
Oh yeah. Who's Mr. Poots? No.
No, I don't know if he would be. He was like a wee science teacher. I can't remember. I don't know what his name is. I can't remember his name.
Mr. Poots was a funny one. As
What's
well.
his name?
Pedo Poots.
Pedo Poots. But yeah, it's like you can just picture God like sitting, like being like, why am I getting blamed for this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I love you, I care about you, I've literally just died for you, like, and
because and that's what we were saying. Like, obviously, like we were talking about last night, even within the Catholic faith in Ireland. Obviously there was terrible things that happened to so many young kids, especially when you think about the Magdalene sisters and the amount of dead babies they fit in the store and everything else, and they're just horrible people, and just sick, evil, demonic people to do that to people, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change by the fact that Jesus Christ is God. Do you know what I mean? And it's simple as that, because then people have free will. Do you know what I mean? Just because they're part of a church doesn't mean that they don't they don't have free will anymore. They can't choose to be bad or good. Do you know what I mean?
No, totally. Like, I think people need to get wrap their head around, as we were saying earlier on, about the foundational truths of who God is.
Yeah.
And knowing that your relationship between you and God is between you and God. And it's not based on, I really like that preacher's teaching, so I'm now a Christian.
Yeah.
It can't be based on anybody else but your own understanding and your own opinion, like your own relationship with Jesus, with God. And that's what matters. Is people who put their faith in people, whether you're a Christian or not. If you're basing your understanding and belief or anything on someone you're close to, or someone you heard speak, or whatever, it's like someone said once, I think it was like, you don't want to meet your heroes, because they'll show you that they're not actually what you expected them to be, whether it's someone famous. Oh, I really want to meet Tom Hanks or whoever it might be. Let's not go any further, but you don't want to meet someone who's
I want to
famous.
meet Tom Hanks' son.
When it's in their mouth. Yeah. So people will disappoint you.
Yeah, that's it.
And
that's it.
we can't put any blame on God because of people. But yeah. Yeah. Well, mate. Thank you very much for taking the time to
Thank you for
sit
having
with
me
us
on.
and
This has
just
been fun.
have a general,
Yeah.
authentic conversation about things.
Yeah.
And obviously we said at the start, as much as we want people of every sort of background, to be on it and stuff, we do focus, we want it to be God focused, and we want him to be glorified through all these conversations. And you've obviously said about like your faith as a Christian and your struggles with that and church and your background and things like that, and I said this the last time in jail, like, if you were to give someone a message or like a bit of encouragement or advice or something, what would you say? And I guess I'll ask you the same thing. If someone's listening and you had one piece of a wee golden nugget, bit of information or encouragement you would give someone, what would you leave them with? Mic drop situation.
If you're ignoring, there's something in you that you're squishing down. It's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that now. Like the thing you're most looking for is where you least want to look. Like I don't want to deal with that. Oh, I don't want to deal with it. If it's like your mum wasn't nice to you, or you just love drinking and you can't stop. The thing you're most looking for, the things that are the worst in your life, are going to be fixed by dealing with the thing you don't want to deal with, and that's hard. And friends help, and a relationship with God helps.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And
thank you, boys.
no bother.
Cheers. Been fun.
Tune in for the next time.